What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and I'll be breaking down Curtis Blaydes versus Derrick Lewis. Man, I've been talking about this matchup for a minute. I've been planting the seeds. I've been telling y'all how much I hate Curtis Blaydes, and yeah, man, we're here. We're finally here. But yeah, let's get to the stats, man. Curtis is the number. Actually, I don't think Tapology has the right. The rankings. Let me look at the actual UFC rankings. Yeah, Curtis is the number two. I was about to say light heavyweight in the world, and Derrick Lewis is number four. Tapology had him like three or something like that. So yeah, but let's go back to Tap. Yeah, Razor comes in, 14-2. It's fighting out of Chicago. Oh, well, he's not. He's fighting out of Colorado. I'm sorry. I don't know why they got to say this. I know he fights at Elevation Fight Team. So, and they're in Colorado. He's 29 years old. He's 6'4" and reach of 80. Derrick is 24-7. Fighting out of Houston, Texas. Age 35. Height 6'3" and a reach of 79. So, Curtis has that, I guess that 1-inch reach advantage. But yeah, let's look at their notable wins. For Curtis, as much as I don't like this guy, he has a resume. I can't deny it, man. Beating Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem, Mark Hunt, Alexei Olenek, Volkov. That I'm adding that in because I like Volkov. But in his last four fights, since the Francis Ngannou loss, where he just got destroyed and humbled. Dude, that was beautiful the way Francis did him. Yo, it was so quick. It was like a quick, I think it was just was it either a front or rear hook? He caught him right behind the ear. Dude, he took his ass out. And I'll never forget that. I remember watching the promo. I think it's still on YouTube, the UFC Fight Night Beijing promo. DC did it, and they were hyping this Curtis Blaydes thing because he was on that 3-fight win streak over Alexei Olenek, Hunt, and Alistair Overeem, and they were like, "Oh, Curtis is gonna take Francis's spot," and Francis took his ass out. And even the interesting thing that not a lot of people talk about, Curtis went for one of the most lazy. I've never seen a lazier single leg in my life in that fight. I don't know if he was just if it was a takedown feint that by accident turned into a takedown, but I don't know what it was. But it was so lazy. And then he stuffed the takedown. He took the hands out and was able to clip him with that hook behind the ear and took his ass out. I know some people complained about the stoppage, but obviously Curtis was gonna die. You could tell, man. That guy, he ain't built to take punches like that. But it is what it is. But since that loss, I will say one thing, and I did do a film study on this, and I think I'll show clips in this prediction and breakdown. But dude, I can't even lie. I was impressed in his last four fights. I've seen. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong to hate on him. But watching those last four, I'm like, okay, this guy has some skills. He does have some skills. Obviously, I don't know if it's the heavyweight division that's just not there and they can't compete with him or what. But his win over Justin Willis was really impressive. He was able to use his wrestling. There were some moments where he was lazy. But Justin Willis is a guy that, trained at AKA. Has dealt with guys like, Cain Velasquez, a lot of DC, a lot of good wrestlers. So obviously, I feel like he had a lot of, he had a great training camp, and he was able to drop Justin Willis because he had Justin Willis thinking about, the wrestling. And I will say one thing about Curtis, he does have good wrestling, but I would say decent wrestling. I won't say good MMA wrestling, but one thing that sets him apart in his striking, even though his striking and his movement and his stance switches are not great, he has a solid 1-2. I will give him that. That 1-2 is straight down the pipe. It's clean. It's probably his best offensive striking game, or striking moves, or whatever you want to call it. Like that, he cracks guys. I don't know how he gets away with it, but he's able to do it. Maybe he's just that damn good. Against Shamil, that was just destruction. There was not one point in that fight where it was competitive. He put it on him, and he just took him down at will. And he just sat at half guard. And I will say one thing: he has the best ground and pound in the heavyweight division. I will say that. In half guard, especially, in other positions, I don't think he's that good. When he's on the back, or when the guy's on all fours and they're trying to get back up, I don't think he's good there. But when he got that half guard and he's running down, even in full guard, when he fought Alistair Overeem, his elbows are legitimately, they got some razor to him. I won't lie. But yeah, and his next fight, probably his best performance, or his more like highlighted performance, the victory over Junior Dos Santos. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I still have it on my YouTube. I did pick Junior Dos Santos to beat him, and I thought Junior was doing well. I thought he did expose Derrick a little bit, but it just wasn't enough, man. He was throwing that rear uppercut like he was gonna go like that, and I'm throwing that rear uppercut. If I don't have like a jab, or even DC was saying in the commentary, like, if I'm keep going like that, he's gonna hit me with that too. And I've said it, he has a great 1-2, and he's able to catch him. But one thing that goes completely unnoticed in that fight, which drives me nuts, is that he went 0 for 8, like on takedowns. Junior stuffed every single takedown. So, and I'll get to that point when I start talking about his wrestling, but it is what it is. And then his next fight against Alexander Volkov, his most recent fight, might be, for the first 3 rounds, I thought that was his best performance. That's when his wrestling looked the greatest, those first 3 rounds. But then I saw something, he got tired, and I guess it was his first time going 5 rounds, I think, yeah. Or, no, he was scheduled for 5 rounds against Francis, but that was his first time even touching the 4th and 5th. And that's what I was kind of banking on. I really thought Volkov, and again, I did pick Volkov to beat this guy, right? I picked Volkov to beat him. But, I thought Volkov won the 4th because he did get a takedown at the end of that 4th round. The 5th, I gave it to, even though he hurt Curtis, and I thought he was about to fuck him up. He caught him with, a great, I think, kick. He timed him so well. Like, it was like almost like he went for a teep, right? So he caught, like, I think more of the knee than the actual, like, front kick. But, he got tired, and that's what it is. But, yeah, let me get to my point about his wrestling. I think he has great MMA wrestling, but his actual wrestling credentials, I think he's like, what, a JUCO champion or something like that. Let me search it up. I was talking about one of my homies, and it's like everyone thinks he's like this D1 wrestler. He's not a D1 wrestler. Like, what makes him, sets him apart, and guys like him, Kumar Usman, Aljamain Sterling, that are, even Corey Anderson, what makes them great in MMA, but not necessarily in the collegiate wrestling world, is it's their mentality, right? Because, some guys, they get stuck in that, the best example, I got Patrick Cummins, right? The guy is, a phenomenal Penn State wrestler, right? But the reason why it never transitioned into MMA, because I felt like he didn't have the right mentality, to transition his wrestling. He just, you heard it, right? He was bragging about beating DC, I think in the wrestling room, and making him cry. And then DC put it on him in their fight, and it's like, dude, man, he was like, what, 4-0 or something like that when they fought, or something like that. And you talk about the things with his coaches, he was just drilling wrestling, and he wasn't adapting the striking and the striking feints and the setups for his wrestling. But the thing with a D2, a Division III guy, they don't have that mentality where, like, I don't need to do that, I have to do that, and they're always willing to evolve their game, right? But let me search up accolades. But, yeah, folk style wrestling. Yeah, he was, junior college athletic. He won 14 matches. Oh, no, that's his MMA record. Yeah, so right here. Yeah, he took a bronze. Yeah, I always hear this national. Yeah, he was a JUCO national champion in 2012, and then in 2011 he took bronze. So he's a decent. Like, I do think he's a good wrestler, and I won't disrespect him like that. But And obviously I looked at Wikipedia, so I could be wrong. Maybe they got it. Maybe they edited it. But and and obviously if you don't know what a JUCO, it's like community college, and there's nothing wrong with community. I feel like some of those guys that come out of there are some of the toughest guys and some of the hardest working guys because they've been through the ringer. Like a Brock Lesnar, he was man. But usually you would like to see those JUCO guys transition to Division One, and that's what Brock did, and he never did that. And that's and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I was saying about guys like Aljamain Sterling, Corey, and even Curtis, that they're able to transition their wrestling to a higher level in MMA. And what makes Curtis, and I know everyone's like, well, Corey has the pace, right? Aljamain has the jiu-jitsu. What does Curtis Blaydes have? Now, for me, I don't think Curtis Blaydes is that good. But for someone that was being objective and unbiased, right? His ability to cage wrestle. His cage wrestling is phenomenal, right? The way he's able to, put it on you and keep those positions, it's phenomenal. That's not folk style wrestling. That's not freestyle wrestling. That's all MMA wrestling. That cage aspect of it, he has it down, and I think he's the best one in the division. You look a lot of it. It's a lot. He'll basically do a football fucking, get his in his 3-point stance and just rush you to the cage or push you to the cage, and then when he has you on the cage, that's what Usman's great at it. I wouldn't say he's as good as Usman in the clinch, right? But when he has your legs and he has that, he's doing that blast double leg. Right, he's great at that. He has you near the cage. He's able to keep you there. But here's the thing: it's for me, it's I feel like personally, that's the I obviously I think he has the takedown record in the heavyweight division. But that's just let's look at these guys in the division, man. How many wrestlers we got? Francis and Stipe is a wrestler. Francis Ngannou, no wrestling background. Curtis is a wrestler. Jairzinho is not a wrestler. Derrick doesn't have no wrestling background. Alistair Overeem, he's a good grappler, but doesn't really have a wrestling background. Volkov doesn't have a wrestling background. Dos Santos doesn't have a wrestling background. Shamil, I don't know if he has a wrestling, he might. I'm not sure about that. Augusto Sakai doesn't have a wrestling background. Alexei Oleinik, great grappler, but doesn't have a wrestling background. Walt Harris is a powerful striker, doesn't really have a wrestling background. Sergey Pavlovich doesn't really have a wrestling, he's more of a striker. Bligo Ivanov, he's a sambo guy. So I'll put him in there, right? Cyril Gain does, Andre, I'm not trying to hate on him, but who is he taking down, and yeah, he's been looking great, but these are against guys, and if I was to fault him, I don't know if his heart is in the right place, and I don't know if he's able to take real damage, and obviously that's why he got his wrestling. But let's go to Derrick Lewis, man. I looked at his last 5 fights for my film study, and a part of me, it's hard, man. It really is hard to root for Derrick in this fight, right? But here's one thing I saw. And I started from Alexander Volkov, right? So I watched the Volkov fight. They posted it on YouTube, so I had to watch it, right? I saw heart in that fight, but I saw a lot of sloppiness, right? But he showed heart, and he got the shot. And you could tell, man, that fucking overhand, he kills guys with it. DC, he just got out wrestled against, an Olympian, bro. A world's champion in wrestling. I wouldn't say he didn't win any national, he didn't win at NCAAs. He didn't win a gold medal, but I think I forgot what the tournament's called for Greco or some. He did win something, but it's just a great wrestler, right? He has the loss to Junior Dos Santos, and in that loss, it was shameful. I'm not gonna lie, that was shameful. It was nothing, but it was just Junior outclassing him and basically teaching him a serious lesson about respecting your opponent and training right for your opponent. And dude, it was over right when he hit that switch kick or that spinning switch kick or something like that. Man, that spinning heel kick to the body. If you get what I'm saying, man, it was over after that, and it was sad, and I was not happy about it. I ain't gonna lie, I picked Derrick to win that fight, but it was a great fight though. I will say that. And his fight against Bligo Ivanov, here's what I saw: actual improvement. He really tried. He was going, even though Ivanov had that great throw, Ivanov had the submission attempts. You could see that he kind of slimmed down. And and it's so funny, when he's out of shape, he knocks everyone out. But when he's in shape, he kind of goes to decision. But what I can see is that Derrick has the heart, and when he's in shape, I can trust that guy to give me 110% in those championship rounds. Even though I will say, he does have that loss to Mark Hunt, right, in the 4th round. So I won't act like he has great cardio. But I know he won't give up on my, if I'm betting on it, he won't give up on my. Sorry for the interruption. My computer's tripping on me. But like I was saying, he won't give up on your money. In that fight against Ivanov, he had a real decision to make. He had to go crazy in that 3rd round and give it to him, and he wailed on him in that corner. And that's something I see. I don't see that at a Curtis Blaydes, right? And his next fight against Ilir Latifi going up to to heavyweight. He was from light heavy. I think he was coming off 2 losses to Corey and to what's his face? Volkan Ozdemir. That's who he lost to. Right? I had to think about that. But yeah, and another point I want to make: Bligo Ivanov and Ilir Latifi, shit. I think Ilir Latifi was a Swedish freestyle world champion or something like that in wrestling. And Bligo Ivanov, they always talk about he beat Fedor in Sambo, and he was a Sambo world champion. And I don't want to say those equate to freestyle wrestling, but hey, man, that kind of looks better than some bronze he got in some JUCO community college tournament. I'm not gonna lie, they look like, hey, you could make that point. I'm not gonna make that point because that's kind of disrespectful, but this is MMA, so obviously I would say Curtis has a better MMA wrestling than those two. But in terms of credentials, I don't want to say nothing. But if you look at what Derrick has been doing, he's been fighting grapplers, right? That's all he's been doing in his last 3. But against Ilir Latifi, that one, some people really thought he lost that fight. When I first watched it, I really thought he lost that fight. Then I watched it again, and I was like, you know what? I think he won that fight because I gave him the first. Because just how many goddamn high kicks he was so in shape for that one too, right? He was throwing so many high kicks, and yeah, he was doing a lot of good things in like the knees and the high knees and the jumping knees he was throwing. Like we're good, and then obviously in the second, Ilir got those takedowns and was able to throw him. But, and another thing we didn't talk about, even in the Ivanov fight, the way, Derrick was able to jump back up from positions and explode. That's how you can tell that guy's a legitimate, I think he played football, legitimate athlete. And nothing against, like Curtis. He's a good athlete too. But, like, it is a different, man. I'll never forget when I seen football players start, in my high school when they came to the wrestling team. Man, if they just, if some of them just, really worked on the technical stuff, but they were just so explosive, because they're so used to being in that 3-point stance and just exploding, right? And it's so similar to a double leg. And that's where I saw a lot of things that Derrick did good. And in the 3rd round, I watched and how he freaking gave me so much heart, right, in that fight and pursued the victory, I got to give him credit. I really do. You can't take that away from him. In that 3rd round, he went for broke, right? So, like, it's just one of those things, man. I just honestly, I don't see that in Curtis. I don't see Curtis doing that, Like, I see Curtis hanging on for life when he's fighting Alexander Volkov. Like, it is what it is. And against Alexei Oleinik, that was, and that's funny. Apparently he was out of shape for this one. He gets the finish, right? That was it was quick. I wasn't happy about Alexei Oleinik taking him down. And that's the thing. When I watch this film study, I'm not going to lie to you. You know what the conclusion I come down to? I come down to Curtis Blaydes by decision. It was a hard pill to swallow, I do not like Curtis Blaydes. I would not lie to you. There's something about him that I don't like. It's not his style. If I watched five full fights of his, then you can't say I'm a hater on his style. And I've wrestled before, so I can't really hate on him for being a wrestler. But, yeah, something that pissed. I think it might have been his interview that he did, I think, with MMA Weekly or something like that. And he was talking shit about Francis or whatever with his stuttering self. But, yeah, I've talked all about the fights with Derrick and Curtis, and it's hard. It's hard to really go with Derrick Lewis in here. It really is for me. And one of my subscribers, my boy Kendall, he's Team Razor Blades all day. So, and I told this man 3 months ago, I'm going Derrick Lewis, and I this might kill my credibility, right, in in the community, but I don't give a fuck. I think Derrick Lewis can beat this guy. I've thought that about Volkov. I thought about Junior Dos Santos, and that's the thing. I'm not picking against these guys or whatever because Curtis is the favorite. I'm picking against Curtis is because I honestly do think these guys have a legitimate chance. We've seen in the Junior Dos Santos, he was able to stop 8. He made Curtis go 0 for 8 in takedowns. You saw in the Volkov fight. He's a pressure guy, right? And his stamina almost got him, right? These are opportunities that just were missed, and that's a fight. But it doesn't mean another guy can't do it. If I can see a chance, like I know guys like Brandon K, right? He went with Anderson Silva to beat Uriah Hall, as much as I didn't agree, I understand what he was coming from was because he saw a chance. He's not picking because he's like, that's his favorite fight. He saw a legitimate chance, and I really believe that, right? And that's some real shit. And I think Derrick Lewis has a legitimate chance to beat this cat. I really do think so, and I'm super biased, so you don't have to go with me, right? This is one of these picks where you can just be like, Everson, you're retarded, my guy. eBay, you lost your mind, but I'm going to war with these Curtis Blaydes fans. I don't like y'all. Y'all can all cry, and I promise y'all gonna cry, man. Y'all gonna cry when this guy lose, bro, because y'all was shaking y'all boots against Volkov in that 4th and 5th rounds when that man was about to quit. It is what it is. My final prediction, I'm going Derrick Lewis, 4th round TKO. I think that's his best spot. I think Curtis's double leg and this and that will get him, and but I think he's gonna tire himself out. Curtis doesn't maintain control. You saw, I think he went for 20 takedowns or something like that against Volkov, right? He doesn't really do anything. Even though I gave him a lot of credit for his ground and pound, unless he has a dominant position on you, like in half guard, man, he kind of just sits there. And man, I hope they have that one referee. Oh man, I forgot that guy's name. That was doing the Holly Holm. No, it wasn't. No, it was the what's his name? Oh my god, I forgot the name. But those two heavyweights in the co-main event for Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana, and he did not let them wrestle at all. Man, I hope we get that guy. If we get that guy, it's a wrap. Say goodbye to Curtis Blaydes. Say goodbye. So yeah, I think Derrick Lewis gets this done. 4th round TKO. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna be the only one that says this. I've been struggling. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't honestly want to do this, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna make any excuses. I'm like, I didn't want to know. I'm going 100% with this. I made my decision like 30 minutes ago. I'm like, no, I'm not. At first, I was gonna pick Curtis. I was like, man, fuck that guy. He's not. I don't want to pick that motherfucker, man. He's such a clown, bro. He is such a clown, but he's a good fighter though. I can't take that away from him. I'll never take that away from him. His MMA wrestling is good. He has a great 1-2. His gas tank isn't the best. He's a good fighter. I do not make that. I just personally don't like him as a person, right? But he's a good fighter. He has a great resume. You look at his resume, if I'm being honest, he has a great resume. He has a better resume than Derrick. But there are some holes in his game, in the great words of Kevin Lee, that Derrick Lewis will exploit. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, go follow my Instagram. Go follow my Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe. You dislike if you want to. If you're some Curtis Blaydes fan, I love it. I love the discussion. I love to banter with y'all in the comments. It's all good. Love y'all and goodbye.